All right, guys, let's check out the A56 here with the One UI 8 update. I want to take some time to check this update out because this is a very good phone. It's a very good mid-range phone. I wish they would have kept the SD card support from the A55. But yeah, so let's go ahead and check out this update. So just for starters, I think that the update just in general is pretty good on this phone. I was kind of a little worried about if it would make the phone kind of laggy because it is a mid-range phone. But I think the animations are a little bit smoother. It has been improved a lot when it comes to just being a lot more fluid and not having those kind of animation stutters when you're doing a lot of stuff. Now, I have noticed because it is a mid-range phone, some of the features are kind of dialed back, like the new clock that we got. If we go ahead and wake it up, you can see it doesn't like swoop over or do like the animation thing that the older flagships do. But it just kind of like, it just doesn't look that great when you are on the always on display, as you guys can see. Let me do it again. Yeah, it just skips the animation. That's something that I've noticed. Now the clock is still there, so if we hold, you guys can see if I move it, the clock will move with it. So it's still there, it just doesn't have the animation. So I mean, it just doesn't look as good. Yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed so far. And a lot of the other stuff is still here, guys. So the improved multitasking, which is a big one, is still here. So you can come up. And like I said, animations feel a lot better. Like typically with this phone, because it is a, it's a mid-range phone. So if you have a lot of stuff open, sometimes you'll get a little bit of animation jitters. It's not bad, but I think they've really ironed the animation kind of jitters out with this One UI 8 update. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys notice a difference with just more consistency in animation smoothness? Out the weather, we do have an updated weather. Yeah, it looks a lot better. We got that, so they didn't dial that back. And there's a few other things here, like the quick share made it. Quick share made it, so we tap on share, the new and improved quick share, as you guys can see. So it looks a lot better. The open quick controls made it to this A56 as well, so we can swipe up. I really prefer this because of these phones are just massive these days, so anything that helps you like one hand stuff is always going to be, pretty nice to have. Also with the wallpapers, you do have dynamic wallpapers as well. So if we tap on that, basically it just shifts the colors throughout the day to match the day, so it'll get lighter or darker. Click on style here, you can kind of shift through these, but that's essentially what it's doing. And also the suggested wallpapers actually made it here as well. So if we click on that, you can see it will go ahead and crop out images you have in your gallery, and you can go ahead and set these as wallpapers, which is really nice. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it got most of the features. It just, the clock animation just didn't look as great. It does have the also the updated menu here as well too. And as far as people wanting to know about the advanced or intelligent features, it didn't really get any new AI features, so it still has the same stuff here. All right, so the A56, should you still buy this phone here? You can find these brand new Amazon, eBay for around $325, and I'm suspecting the price will come down as we go later into the year, probably around 300 bucks. I still like the phone. Like I said, I've looked at this phone quite a bit and compared it quite a bit on the channel here. I'm a big fan of the build quality. I really like the design of this phone. A lot of people don't like the kind of like the camera ring, but kind of reminds me of like the older Samsung phones, like the S21s. The build quality is pretty good. I mean, it's a full glass and metal phone for a mid-range phone. It doesn't feel cheap. It has a very nice premium feel to it, and I really like this color as well too, because even though it's a glossy finish, I never have to wipe this phone down because it looks always clean. So that's something that I really like, and it's not like super uncomfortable to hold. It's not too sharp or anything like that. So hardware wise it's great. It's IP68 dust and water resistant, but like I said, I wish Samsung would have just, kept the SD card support. So even though we have, a slightly older Super AMOLED tech here, I think the display still looks really good, guys. Of course it does have, kind of thicker, chunkier bezels here. They're not really even, but it's still a very good display. It's a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. It's 120 Hz. It's HDR10 plus. It does pretty good in direct sunlight, 1900 nits, so I can see it outdoors pretty well. And overall, it's a 1080p panel here. It has a pretty decent PPI 385, so everything looks sharp and clean when you look at the icons and text and everything. So I think the display still looks great. Like I said, the colors are very nice and vivid. You can turn that vividness slider up, I believe, on this phone to make the colors pop even more. But yeah, I don't have an issue with this panel in general, especially for a mid-range phone. Now, as far as just performance in general, I think that this phone, it's a mid-range phone. It does a pretty good job with just basic performance. You can see maybe play PUBG at 60 frames actually pretty smoothly. I've not had an issue with this Exynos 1580 processor. It doesn't overheat, and yeah, I just don't have an issue with it. So I've been actually pretty happy with the performance on this Exynos processor. You can definitely get some, a little bit of light gaming in here, Call of Duty, PUBG, for sure. And remember, it launched with 6 years of major OS updates from Android 15. It has 128 gigs and 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. I would get the 8 gig of RAM version if you can. But yeah, so as far as performance goes, it's a very good phone when it comes to anybody just trying to get a little bit of light gaming. I wouldn't recommend it for any competitive gaming. Of course, you're better off spend that $300, get an older flagship. But I mean, this is fine for just people who just kind of casually want to play a few games. I got these speakers on the A56. The speakers are actually pretty decent on the A56. Of course, they're not going to be, crazy amazing sounding, but they do have a pretty good amount of bass, and they overall sound pretty solid. I don't really have an issue. I also have an optical fingerprint scanner, which was never really bad, so the update didn't really improve anything. I thought, it's not as fast as like an ultrasonic, but like it definitely does work. I've never really had an issue with it. Now, the camera performance on the A56 is actually pretty decent. It's nothing like too crazy, but it's a 50 megapixel standard, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro, so there's no telephoto lens. So with these mid-range phones, if you kind of zoom in, it has 10 times zoom. You're gonna lose a lot of quality with the zoom. But besides that, we have 4K 30 video. We have 12 megapixel selfie cam. It shoots in 4K 30. We also have that best face AI feature as well on here. And as far as the photos and videos go, it takes pretty good photos. I don't really have an issue with the image quality here. I think it's pretty much on par with a lot of other mid-range phones. Pretty good color, pretty good detail on here. And overall, the video, it's okay. It does kind of look, I don't know, sometimes a little bit, digital, I guess. But I don't have an issue with the image quality. I feel like most people would be perfectly fine with an A56. Like I said, with these mid-range phones, they do kind of suffer a little bit in low-light photography. That's where you can kind of tell, it's a mid-range phone. You lose a lot of detail. They can get a little bit noisy. But besides that, I think like if you're in good lighting, it can get you a pretty good photo, pretty good video. I haven't noticed really any difference between screen on time. Battery performance has been very good since I got the phone. It's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, 45 watt charging. We do not have any type of wireless charging on here. But screen on time, like I said, has not changed. It hasn't gotten better or worse for me. Be sure to let us know if you experience anything with your battery life. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, the A56 is a very solid mid-range phone. Anybody who, you just don't want an older flagship, you don't want to buy a used refurbished phone, or you just want something newer and, you want something new, right? So this is a good option. I do really like the phone. Be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.